Okay, you big chopped. I'm glad that you were able to do it, but I'm not ready to do it. They're not gonna like break and snap and crackle and pop, okay? You don't want that. Hey, I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome back to my channel. So I went from damaged hair to healthy hair, and I'm gonna show you how you could do it too. I just wanna say, if you're not ready to big chop, you don't have to big chop yet. Okay, I transitioned for almost 9 months. Almost 9 months. That's almost a year. My plan was to transition for 1.5 years in the beginning, but I made it to 9 months, and you can too. These are just gonna be some steps and some tips to help your transition go as easily as possible, and to also ensure that you don't further damage your already damaged hair. There's already no reversing it, just saying, but at the very least, you don't want to make it worse. First thing you need to do, once you have accepted and realized that your hair is damaged and you will eventually need to get rid of all of the damage, you start cutting what is no longer serving you, honey. You can do 1 inch, 1/2 inch, or 1 centimeter, but you need to start cutting on a regular basis. Part of the reason why this is super important is because the hair is already damaged, right? And you know what's gonna happen to damaged hair? It's gonna start breaking off, and that's gonna affect the rest of your hair, right? So at least if your ends are fresh, they're damaged, but they're not gonna like break and snap and crackle and pop, okay? You don't want that. So start cutting. Set yourself on a monthly schedule to cut. For me, I was doing 1 inch a month, but I did go and get that curly cut, and we cut like 2 to 3 inches all around to start. Once I realized my hair was gone. So I'm not saying you got a big chop, but you gotta start cutting. Next tip, you should start incorporating protein treatments, bond building treatments, bond repair treatments, all those things that would contribute to strengthening of the hair. It's not going to take away the damage. No, it's gonna, number one, put a temporary band-aid on the damage. And number two, it's also going to give you some more time so that you can at least have your hair not break off and not get further damage while it's on your head. And they may even help your curls bounce back, but obviously they're not going to reverse the damage, but it's going to help temporarily. And when you incorporate them on a frequent basis, like once a week, once every 2 weeks, while you're dealing with the damage, it's going to help so much. Your hair is still gonna be damaged, but at least it's not gonna be breaking off. Next tip, less heat, less tension. I started stretching my hair less with my Rev Air, and I started opting for more like wet styles or damp hairstyles, just because like the hair is already very fragile and weak when it's damaged, and adding heat and tension is going to increase the likelihood that it's going to break off. You have heat damage, don't straighten your hair, okay? Even though you're dealing with different textures, don't straighten your hair. If you're transitioning from a relaxer, do not straighten your hair. I've seen a lot of people with relaxers do that. I would say, please don't straighten your hair, okay? Do not straighten your hair. If you can, like, you can blow dry it. Less heat, less tension is the best way to go. Very rarely should you be doing slick backs. When you're detangling as well, you have to be very careful because, again, the hair is already fragile, and when you're detangling, that's when a lot of the breakage will occur. Me personally, I dealt with that as well with the 2 different textures. So you might have to use more sections while you're detangling. You gotta modify things. Less heat, and less tension. Another great tip that is honestly a pretty classic tip, like naturals have been using this particular tip for years, okay? Perm rods. Perm rods will help with blending your two different textures, whether you're transitioning from a relaxer, color damage, heat damage. It's going to help so much. I bought some yellow perm rods, and those are like really small, and the curls look pretty natural, somewhat. Like people have even said, oh, I thought this was a wash and go. Whole time it was a braid out with the perm rods at the ends. So like using perm rods will help your styles come out looking much better. Even just doing like perm rod sets in general, you could do that because you get uniform curls. It makes your hair not look so bad. Do braid outs with perm rods. Trust me, that is probably the best hairstyle. Like it's easy and you get consistent results. Just saying. Leading into this next tip, find a style that works for you and the damage and stick to it, or even two styles, all right? And just stick to it. When I was dealing with the damage, I was experimenting with different protective styles and whatnot, but my go-to style was a braid out with yellow perm rods at the ends. I always got good results. It was very easy to do. Like it would last me as well a full week pretty much if I preserved it well. So find a style that works for you. It's gonna make this journey easier. You also don't want to frustrate yourself with your hair because it's already damaged. You frustrate yourself and you start tugging at it, you start being impatient with it. That's not gonna help. Going into the next tip, you should be using more moisturizing products as well as the strengthening products. I did not skip deep conditioning at all during my transition. Of course, there were times where like I would skip wash days and then I would skip deep conditioning, but every time that I would have a wash day, I would be deep conditioning or using a protein treatment. You need to focus on that balance. Of course, like I keep saying, it's not going to reverse the damage, but it's going to help your hair and also your new growth coming in. You want that hair to be as nourished as possible because this part is like you already have some damaged hair. You don't want the new growth to get damaged too in the process of your transition. You should be monitoring your hair frequently. Weekly wash days. Y'all saw me come up here Sunday reset every single week for a few weeks. Weekly wash days were my thing so that I could keep track of how my hair was doing and I could see if maybe I needed to cut a little more and also see if maybe I needed to change something in my routine. The last thing you want is to be transitioning for like months and then you start noticing that something weird is going on with your new growth and maybe you've been unintentionally damaging your new growth and now you gotta start all over or something. Take a look at it. Don't just leave it under a bonnet or under a sew-in or under a wig. Take a look at it during your wash day, see how it's behaving, see how your new growth is behaving as well. And that's also gonna encourage you, like it's gonna motivate you more to keep on going with the transition once you see that new growth come in. So it's gonna feel like it's growing in so fast. And yeah, I mean, that's how it felt for me. If you start feeling sick of your hair while it's damaged, if you start feeling like you don't want to do it anymore, you don't want to take care of it anymore, that's probably a sign that you're almost ready to chop it off, okay? Because that's how I knew I was ready. So if you feel like you miss your healthy hair and you don't want to deal with the damage anymore, you're tired of babying it and you just want to start over, go for it, honey. Go for it. Even if you had like a plan in mind, if you feel ready, big chop, just big chop. That's what I did. Yes, I transitioned for a while, but I did end up big chopping. But it's really all up to you, okay? Don't feel like you have to big chop when you're not ready. because there are things that come with the big chop, okay? There are things that I've been noticing after my big chop that I wasn't really thinking about before the big chop, but you know, I knew I would have to deal with certain things because I've big chopped before. One of those things is like short hair is a major adjustment, especially if you're used to long hair, okay? You can't do certain styles, okay? You have a lot more shrinkage, right? Maybe like you have to do more sections whenever you're detangling or styling. That's a major thing that I've been dealing with. You might have longer styling time. I know people are like, oh, you have less styling time. For me, I have longer styling time with shorter hair. I think it's because I have so much shrinkage. It takes me so long to style my hair, like so long, but it's okay because honestly, I have fun with it and I'm really having fun with my hair, but it takes much longer for me to style my hair. There are so many things that come with a big chop, so don't rush into it, even though a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, just cut it off, it's no longer serving you. People kept commenting that like under my videos once I started talking about dealing with the damage, and I'm like, okay, I could still transition. People transition their hair from damaged to healthy. Like, okay, you big chopped, I'm glad that you were able to do it, but I'm not ready to do it. You know, some of us, we have different things going on in our lives. There are things that are preventing us from big chopping, or maybe we're just personally not ready yet. A big chop it's a big decision, okay? It's not one to be taken lightly. There's a reason why a lot of hairstylists will have clients who don't want to cut off the damage. It's because a big chop is a big commitment. As Black women, we have very deep relationships with our hair, so not everybody is comfortable cutting it all off, and that is okay. All right, that is perfectly fine. Don't feel pressured. But of course, if you are like, if you're feeling ready, you have all my support, okay? I encourage you. I started looking at short hair inspo, like on Pinterest, and I started getting accustomed to it. I started looking at it and seeing people with my hair type, and I started feeling more comfortable. I started feeling like, you know what, I think I could do this. So definitely look for people with your hair type. If you're thinking of cutting your hair, that's going to help you. And it's going to also encourage you. Don't big chop before you're ready, because another thing, you don't want to hate your big chop and then you hide it all the time. Like, no one wants that. I feel like if you're going to big chop early, you want to embrace that stage, okay? Like me personally, I'm having so much fun with the short hair. Even though it is such a big adjustment, I'm having fun with it. Like, I'm trying different things, different styles. I'm exploring more of my beauty without the big hair, and it's really fun. Every day people are just like, when did this happen, girl? When did you cut your... I'm about to see my family tomorrow and I know they're gonna be shocked. You want to enjoy the stage that your hair is in. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? Now I have to wait so long for my hair to grow back. But anyways, that is it for this video. Let me know if you also have any more tips down below. If you are transitioning and you're watching this, you got this, babes, okay? Your hair will be back and the transition will be worth it. Will be worth it. Just stick it out, romanticize the process, and it's gonna be fine, okay? Your hair is going to be back and better than ever. Just wait a little bit, okay? It's going to go by fast. Thank you for watching, and I'm glad you were here. I will see you very soon. Please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Bye.